so you know it, right? Right? What's the next fundamental?
Repetition.
This is impression, repetition, and association, right? So if we were talking about how to be a better conversationalist, and we were talking about the types or kinds of questions to ask someone, what would the walnut nameplate stand for? What is your name? Then the red brick house would stand for, where do you live? The next object is what?
What do you do?
Work club stand for, where do you work? The 3 P's stand for what?
Product.
Person, product, and payoff. In other words, when you're talking about the person himself and where he works, you talk about the person himself. If you're in a sales situation, you start to move towards the product that you have, and then the payoff, as far as what he's interested in, what his needs are, what his payoff would be, what his benefits would be if you had something that could benefit him. Okay? What's the happy face and sad face about?
What do you
What do you like and what do you not like? Right? Happy face, sad face. Okay? And then that work club is holding on to what?
Goals.
What are your goals?
You guys freezing in here?
Yes. Cold. Cold, Tim.
For a week.
Let me see if I can turn that on. Did that turn it on? Is it off?
It'll probably power down.
Okay, get all powered down. I see you guys going to eat. So, it was very hot. It was 78 here when we first got in. Okay, so the next object that you want is what?
The goalpost?
The work glove is holding on to a
Goalpost.
goalpost, and the goalpost is in the form of a Y. So what are their goals and objectives? And why is that important to them? Okay? So if you're talking with someone and they're talking about, you're at a party, they're talking about the need to make more money, and you ask them, why is that important? They tell you all about it. Does that bring up potential recruitment situations? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah, for anything. Stuck into the goalpost is what? 747 stands for, do you get a chance to travel? And the walnut, or the tennis racket is what? It's for hobby. And the last one is what?
A light bulb.
Light bulb stands for?
Ideas.
What are your ideas in regards to something? Okay, so let's work on,
Why is it painful? Why is it 13 and a half blocks?
okay, the whole reason about with memory, the big thing about memory is if you make the object silly, goofy, what happens is that your mind remembers them better. That's why in many cases air flights are like at 347 or 359, whatever the case may be, so people will actually remember it. Okay? So everyone knows all of those objects, right? Okay, so let's work on number 3, fundamental number 3, and how to be a better conversationalist. And again, I need a volunteer. Who wants to volunteer? Brian does.
All right.
All right. Okay, so again, what I'm going to do, how you doing? What I'm going to do is give you again 2 examples. Tell me which one is better and why. Okay, Brian, Tim Zimmerman. Hi, nice to see you again. I want to go through this better conversationalist thing. Is that okay? Sure. Okay. So let's see. I asked you your name. Where do you live?
I live on Silver Ridge.
Okay. Where do you work?
2020 companies.
2020 companies. Okay. Okay. You have any goals?
Yeah, we're going to recruit as many people as we can.
Do you get a chance to travel?
I do.
Okay. Do you have any hobbies? Or, you have any ideas?
To be as successful as I can be.
Okay, all right, that's a good idea, okay. Good to see you. Yeah. How many of you like that example?
Not good, Tim.
Not good, you don't think so? Okay. Again, let me give you a second example, tell me which one is better and why. Ryan, Tim Zimmerman? Hey, good to see you. I understand you live in Las Vegas, how long have you lived here?
Since I'm 3.
What do you like about it so far?
I like the people. It's a 24-hour time.
Okay.
The ample options available to me.
Okay, all right, so it's an exciting place to be.
Absolutely.
And you work at,
2020 companies.
and what specifically do they do?
We market for Fortune 500 companies
Okay, and how long have you been doing that?
since December 5th, 2008.
Okay, so you must like it.
Yeah, absolutely.
What is the thing you like most about it?
The ability to help people.
Okay, all right, great. Do you get a chance to travel?
Yeah, absolutely.
Where is the most exciting place you've been?
Well, I went to Hawaii in November.
Okay. And was that part of work or? Okay. So with work, what kind of goals do you have for the next 6 months?
To become a regional.
Okay, that's a great goal. And what are your ideas about how to get there?
To recruit everybody in this room.
Okay, thanks. Good to meet you. Which example is better? Why?
You got more information.
Got more information? Did what?
Yeah, I said likes and dislikes.
Did I use the first fundamental?
Yeah.
Yes. Did I use it?
Yes. Yes.
Did I love him? LBV, I looked at him, gave him visual approval, verbal approval, right? And I asked him the questions.
Yeah.
Did I ask the same questions in the first and the second one?
Yes.
What's the difference?
It was more personal.
It's more personal. What's the big difference?
The person.
The big difference was, and this is the
response.
fundamental, is to use the 6 honest serving men. Anyone know Kipling? Kipling, the writer, once wrote, "There are 6 honest serving men, they taught me all I know. Their names are who, what, when, where, why, and how." So the fundamental is to use the 6 honest serving men with each of the different areas. Now, how many of you actually realized that I missed the goalpost when I went through the?
I thought you asked, from the second one, I thought you asked, because he said,
Missed the I didn't ask him the children, but I could have. But
because
I actually asked him about travel before I went back to the goals.
oh,
Okay? Now, why did I do that?
well, because he doesn't know that you're.
Just because that's what happened. Now, you guys didn't know it, right? But I missed it. Right? You guys know what the stack is. So my point is that when you're going through the stack, when you're actually talking with someone and visualizing the stack, if you miss something, you don't have to say, "Oh, wait, I forgot to ask you about your." Right? In other words, you just go back to it in a natural way. Okay? So one of the things that I've done now in the 3 ways, or the 3 areas of training, is to give you what? Knowledge, right? Now, how many of you would feel comfortable going out and using this tomorrow? Most of you would. What would help you feel even better doing that?
Repetition and practice.
Repetition and practice. There we go. Okay. So, not now, but when I say go, what we're going to do is I'm going to pair you guys up, and when we're paired up, one person's going to raise their hand. We're going to decide who goes first, and then I want to start a conversation. It's going to be a one-sided conversation, and I want you to go through. Listen, everyone. I want you to go through the stack and visualize the stack as you're asking the questions, and the other person just gives short answers, because we have to practice. There's a lot more that I have to go through tonight, and we only got 2 minutes each. How was that?
Outstanding.
I missed one.
You missed one. How many of you had good partners? Make sure your partner raised their hand. So what did you find while you were going through everything? It was easy, it was awkward.
The more I did it, the more I realized that I was becoming really my authentic self and engaging with him. Initially, I was, thinking about, okay, what's your name? The more I started going into it, it was easier, it was flowing.
Right, so when you're actually asking the question, and again, in the classroom, this is going to be a little bit awkward, because we're doing short answers, so it's really not going to be the same as an outside conversation because we're practicing. But you still get the gist of being able to visualize it while you're asking the question. And when you ask the question, what do you have time to do? You have time to think, right? So at any time, especially with clients, if you ever feel flustered or nervous or something's going on, one of the ways to control the situation is to do what? Ask a question, and actually ask the right kinds of questions. Okay. So in your book, and we'll be going through this when we go through the attitudes and how to create interest. We're actually going to be going through other questions, and then you can develop your own questions and your own stack. And with that stack, then for those of you that are managers, team leaders, then you can actually teach that stack to your client, your team members, and what will happen with the team members? They're going to grow too. Okay. So in doing all of this, how many of you feel more comfortable than before? What would help you feel even more comfortable? More practice. More practice. You guys should read my mind.
So on and so forth. Okay? All right, I got to bring him back. Okay, thanks. Okay, let's come back into the big group. That's my point. How many of you had good conversation? How many of you had good partner? Yeah, make sure your hand stays up. Okay. So what did you find the second time? Easier? More engaging. It expands. Some people come up to me afterwards and say, actually after a couple weeks when they're actually practicing it, it's like, Tim, how do you shut these people up?
Yeah,
right? I mean, seriously. And there's ways to do that, ways to control the conversation. Jacob?
Right. I felt that I appreciated how there's a whole framework there you have to go from. If they don't, so like if you do want to have that conversation, if they don't expand on a family or work, then you can bring in hobbies or bring up another
Right.
interest. So
Right.
you feel like you have a lot of tools to, like you said, steer that conversation.
Right.
And keep asking.
And with the 3 Ps and with ideas, you can use those to wiggle in what you do for work. You know, what do you think about, you know, interest rates being down low? What do you think about identity theft? What do you think about, you know, Cox Cable raising rates, whatever the case may be, right? What about with real estate, you know, the AB 284, you know, there's only 20 days of inventory. Prices are actually going up right now. Did you know about that? Right? You ask those types of things, and then you're more engaging with the person in regards to what you do for a living. Okay? Any questions about any of that? Let me ask you this. How many of you actually expanded your comfort zone? Those of you who didn't expand their comfort zone? Because everyone didn't raise their hand. Antenna didn't expand your comfort zone? No, because you have it within your comfort zone already, right? You're pretty cool with all that. Okay, so let's move forward. In sales, we talked about, how many of you are familiar with the 5 attitudes a prospect goes through during the course of a sale and how to overcome those attitudes? Okay, this is going to be part of the crux of the whole 7 weeks, and we're going to break this down along with the other areas of the goals and objectives, achieving your goals and objectives, and putting together affirmations, digital pictures of your goals and objectives, and a mind map movie, and being able to go into your subconscious mind and be able to see that movie as an as-is situation. Okay, so let's go through the attitudes real quick. What is one of the first attitudes that you guys would come up against in a real life situation? Well, what I talk about, I normally use the life insurance salesman example, because if you had an appointment with a life insurance salesperson and you had a hard day at work and you came home and you had a meeting scheduled with him at 6:30 at night and you just got done with dinner and you hear the car door slam, what's your first attitude going to be?
Turn the lights off.
Turn the lights off. What else? Don't answer the door. What else? Do you? Anxiety. Reject them, right? In other words, even though we have an appointment with someone,